General Hospital spoilers tease that one of the most chilling and emotionally charged developments now erupting in Port Charles revolves around Sasha and the mounting dread she cannot escape. What started as fleeting moments of unease has spiraled into a constant state of vigilance, a gnawing paranoia that something is terribly wrong inside the Quartermaine mansion. Sasha had initially dismissed the small anomalies, the odd positioning of Daisy in her crib, the unsettling change of clothes that she didn't recall dressing her in. The mobile phone that lit up inexplicably, but the pattern has grown impossible to ignore. It is no longer a coincidence or fatigue-induced oversight. It is deliberate. Someone is entering Daisy's room. Someone is watching. And perhaps most terrifying of all, someone has a sick and twisted interest in her child. As Sasha walks the polished floors of the mansion, the luxurious surroundings now seem cold, unfamiliar, and sinister. There are subtle but undeniable signs: fresh baby powder where none was placed, new stuffed toys she never purchased. The faint scent of unfamiliar perfume lingering in the nursery. Her instincts, sharpened by past trauma and relentless loss, are screaming that she and Daisy are not alone. And that terrifying suspicion becomes nearly unbearable when Sasha finds what appears to be a small bouquet of daisies placed carefully next to a note scrawled with a chilling message. "She belongs with me." This single discovery detonates Sasha's growing fears into full-blown panic. The timing couldn't be worse. With so many Quartermaines distracted by court battles, custody fights, and power shifts, Sasha feels isolated, unheard, and most importantly, unprotected. Michael is buried under layers of legal chaos and emotional guilt. Brooke Lynn is preoccupied. Even Willow, with all her maternal intuition, is consumed by other battles. Sasha is left to face the shadows on her own, and those shadows are getting bolder. But it's not just the present that haunts her, it's what she begins to uncover as she digs into the past. In an unused wing of the Quartermaine estate, Sasha stumbles upon a hidden storage space that had not been opened in years. Inside are old surveillance devices, dusty baby items that predate Daisy's birth. And, most terrifying of all, documents linking a former staff member to a psychiatric facility. The name on the record is partially obscured, but one thing is clear. This person had an unhealthy obsession with children, and with the Quartermaines. Could this individual be back? Could they have somehow slipped through the cracks? As Sasha races through old files, she realizes that someone may have been planting themselves near Daisy since the day she was born. This is no longer about a simple threat. This is a carefully orchestrated stalking campaign. The Quartermaine mansion, often bustling and chaotic, was the perfect camouflage for someone who knew how to slip between the cracks, someone with access, patience, and a fixation. Sasha's grief over losing Liam, combined with her fragile recovery and constant battles for stability, had made her a perfect target for psychological manipulation. And now, she suspects that the same force is coming for Daisy. The emotional toll becomes unbearable as Sasha begins to unravel under the pressure. She can no longer sleep. Every creak in the floorboards jolts her awake. Every whisper of the wind makes her rush to Daisy's side. She installs new locks, demands new security protocols, and pleads with anyone who will listen. But with no clear suspect and no concrete evidence, her fears are dismissed as post-traumatic anxiety. That dismissal only deepens the sense of betrayal and isolation. Sasha knows what she's feeling. She knows danger is near. And she knows she must act before it's too late. Then, one evening, as thunder crashes and rain lashes against the windows, Sasha returns to the nursery after a short moment away, only to find Daisy's crib empty. Her world collapses. Her screams echo through the mansion, and within seconds, the entire household is in chaos. But before anyone can even call the police, Daisy is found, safe, lying in Sasha's own bed, bundled in a blanket she didn't use. No one admits to moving her. There were no footsteps, no creaks, no signs of a break-in. Just silence. And Sasha's unraveling sense of reality. This incident is the final spark. Sasha demands the Quartermaines take her seriously. She contacts Anna, pushes for a full investigation, and refuses to let Daisy out of her sight. What was once a mother's fear has become a mother's war. Sasha is done being doubted. She is done waiting for help. She is ready to confront the darkness herself. And as she begins tracing every connection, former employees, obscure business dealings, and personal rivalries, she stumbles upon a terrifying possibility. What if the person stalking her isn't a stranger? What if they're connected to someone she knows? Someone who has always been just outside the frame, just out of reach? In the days that follow, Sasha's determination grows fierce. Her love for Daisy is an unshakable force, one that no obsession or deranged predator can overcome. But the deeper she digs, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just about one person's obsession. It's part of something bigger. A game. A strategy. And Sasha and Daisy may only be the first targets. Now, the question is no longer whether Sasha's fears are valid, it's how far she will go to protect her daughter. And whether she will have to face this unknown enemy alone. Because whoever is out there, lurking in the corners of the Quartermaine mansion and leaving behind symbols of possession, has only just begun. A new wave of dread has begun to grip the heart of Port Charles, and this time, it centers around a chilling presence hidden within the very walls of the Quartermaine estate. Whispers of something sinister have begun to rise. And the atmosphere inside the once grand mansion has turned suffocating, thick with paranoia and the faint echo of footsteps that no one can trace. This terrifying descent into madness begins not with bloodshed or screams, but with silence, unnatural, watchful silence that stretches far too long in rooms that should never be empty. What was once dismissed as Sasha's lingering trauma is now morphing into undeniable truth. A hidden chamber, buried beneath years of secrecy and old construction, has been quietly revealed, a place never charted in blueprints, a room without doors from the main hallway, concealed behind a wall of faded portraits and forgotten memories. The Quartermaines, for all their influence and history, had no idea it existed, or so they claim. But someone knew. Someone has been there. Watching. It began subtly. The gentle creak of floorboards when no one else was home, the flicker of hallway lights without explanation, the missing baby monitor that reappeared days later in Daisy's drawer. Still warm to the touch. Sasha's anxiety, already frayed from the growing signs of obsession surrounding her daughter, exploded into raw panic when she discovered the existence of this room. Tucked behind the library, hidden by false shelving, the chamber bore signs of recent occupancy, a cot, empty food wrappers, and most disturbingly, a photograph of Daisy carefully pinned to the wall. The moment Sasha stepped into the room, the air changed. It was cold, damp, and unnervingly still. On a makeshift desk sat what appeared to be a journal, filled with scribbled thoughts. Erratic handwriting, and repeated phrases like, "She was never yours," and "The light belongs in the dark." Pages were dedicated to Daisy, drawings, cutouts. Strange notes about her routines and sleeping patterns, as if someone had been charting her every move. It wasn't just obsession. It was possession. The horror didn't end there. Surveillance photos were found, taken from inside the mansion, angles that could only be accessed from hidden vents or secret passageways. Sasha realized the truth that no one wanted to say aloud. The person haunting her child was already inside the house. And had been for a long time. Sasha, trembling and enraged, raced to Michael and Brooke Lynn, demanding answers. But panic set in when no one believed her, not fully. The room was quickly emptied. The photos gone. Only Sasha's frantic voice and wide eyes remained as proof. But she knew. Someone had cleaned up behind her. Someone powerful enough to erase evidence. Or perhaps someone already part of the Quartermaine circle. Her descent into desperation escalated as she refused to sleep, refused to leave Daisy alone, refused to allow anyone near the nursery unless she could verify them herself. She begged the Quartermaines to hire round-the-clock security, demanded cameras be installed, only to find the footage wiped clean the very next day. The psychological warfare was real, targeted, and deliberate. Then came the ultimate betrayal, a fresh bouquet of daisies, placed in Daisy's crib, with no explanation of how it got there. Tucked inside was a note that simply read, "She's safer with me." Sasha collapsed to the floor, gripping Daisy close as if her love alone could create an impenetrable shield. But her tears weren't just from fear, they were from the horrifying realization that whoever this person was, they believed what they were doing was right. That they were saving Daisy from her. This discovery has shattered the illusion of safety within one of Port Charles's most iconic families. A phantom dwells among them, an obsessed, calculated threat who hides in plain sight. The Quartermaine mansion, once a symbol of power and privilege, now pulses with the presence of something sinister. And Sasha, already pushed to the brink, must find the strength to face it. Who is the mysterious figure in the secret room? Is it someone from the family's dark past? An ally turned predator? Or perhaps someone with a vendetta so deeply buried that their true motives remain shrouded in shadow? One thing is certain, this new threat is unlike anything Sasha has faced before. It is intimate. It is merciless. And it is just getting started. As the mansion tightens its grip around its residents, the lines between reality and fear blur. Sasha is no longer simply a grieving mother, she is now a warrior forced into battle against an enemy she cannot see, one who knows her every move. And as she fights to protect Daisy, Port Charles must brace for what's coming next. Because the Quartermaines are no longer just a family, they are a target. And their legacy may soon be rewritten in whispers, blood, and betrayal. The danger to Daisy has begun to transcend mere paranoia. It has evolved into a suffocating atmosphere of dread that clings to every hallway of the Quartermaine mansion, seeping into the very walls of the nursery that was once considered a sanctuary. Sasha, whose nerves are fraying by the hour, feels this change more acutely than anyone. It isn't just a mother's anxiety anymore, it's instinct, sharpened by trauma, by loss, by betrayal. She knows someone is watching her child, not from a distance, but from inside their world. The evidence is no longer circumstantial or fragmented, it is deliberate, intimate, and deeply sinister. At first, Sasha dismissed the oddities as fatigue-induced hallucinations, blankets moved. Pacifiers vanished, strange floral scents lingering in the room. But then came the messages, the toys rearranged into unnatural formations. The recorded laughter that didn't belong to Daisy echoing faintly through the baby monitor at night. It wasn't until Sasha discovered a hidden crawlspace behind Daisy's closet, with what appeared to be old surveillance equipment and discarded baby items that didn't belong to them, that her fear transformed into absolute horror. Someone had been living close, possibly within the walls, possibly for weeks. Watching. Studying. Waiting. And yet, the question that continues to claw at her sanity is who? The name that refuses to stay buried is Nelly. Though believed dead, no one in Port Charles has ever seen a body. Her legacy lingers like a curse. Nelly once faked her own death, orchestrated complex revenge schemes, and infiltrated families with the precision of a master manipulator. The twisted affection she once harbored for Wiley has never been forgotten, and now Daisy is of similar age, similar lineage, similar innocence. Could Nelly have returned, not to reclaim a child, but to rewrite the story she believes was stolen from her? But if this isn't Nelly, if this is someone new, then it's someone inspired by her. A disciple. A copycat. Or worse, a relative driven by the same madness, the same vendetta. Sasha now believes that the figure haunting her daughter's nursery may not just want to harm Daisy, but to take her. Not for ransom. Not for leverage. But for possession, for obsession. For a delusional maternal fantasy that has twisted itself into reality. Michael has tried to be supportive, but his focus remains divided. The strain of the custody battle with Sunny, his fractured relationship with Willow, and his own spiraling guilt have left him distracted. Sasha feels alone in this, and while Brooklyn, Chase, and even Carly have offered help, no one feels the terror quite like she does. Because it's not just about what's happening now, it's about what's returning. The shadows of her past, the guilt of lost children. The trauma of being gaslit and institutionalized. This isn't the first time Sasha has been called unstable. And now she fears no one will believe her until it's too late. Maxie, however, is beginning to connect the dots. After discovering that Natalia may have faked her own death and that Sidwell orchestrated a layered campaign of psychological warfare, she begins to suspect that the pattern of manipulation is larger than any one incident. If Natalia isn't dead, if Sidwell is still moving pieces in secret, then this new torment aimed at Sasha could be yet another level in a larger, more terrifying game. Then comes the discovery that shatters everything, a letter, handwritten, slipped beneath Daisy's nursery door. It reads, "She belongs with me now. You never deserved her. You never deserved any of them." The handwriting is painfully familiar. Sasha had seen it once. On a patient admission form years ago, back when she was institutionalized following the loss of her son. That same looping, erratic handwriting belonged to a woman no one had thought twice about then. But now, that woman may be the key to everything. Portia and Liz begin their own medical inquiry into Sasha's mental health records and find discrepancies, visits that never happened, medication logs that were falsified, and therapist notes that were edited post-submission. It appears Sasha's perception of reality had been manipulated for months, maybe even years. But to what end? Someone wanted Sasha unstable. Someone wanted her credibility destroyed. And now that Daisy is in the picture, the target has shifted. The baby isn't just in danger, she is the endgame. The mansion is placed under private surveillance. Jason quietly begins his own investigation into who may be leaking information from within the family. Carly insists on Daisy being moved to her estate, but Sasha refuses. She won't be driven out of her daughter's home. Not again. Not by ghosts. Not by monsters. Then one night, a lullaby plays from a music box Sasha swears she's never seen before. The song is familiar, too familiar. It's the lullaby she sang to her son before he died. The one no one else should know. And sitting beside the music box is a small, pale blue rattle, engraved with the letter J. That night, Sasha doesn't sleep. She arms herself and waits by Daisy's door, knowing the intruder will return. Because they always return. Because this is personal. Because this is not over. And as lightning splits the sky and thunder cracks over Port Charles, one terrifying truth becomes clear: the past never died, it was waiting. Waiting in silence, feeding on grief, growing stronger in the darkness. Now it has returned. For Daisy. For Sasha. And for revenge. Whatever is coming next, will change everything. The psychological spiral Sasha finds herself locked within has grown far more disturbing and complex than anyone around her seems willing to acknowledge. What began as subtle unease, a crib turned the wrong direction, a mobile playing a song she didn't remember winding, has now evolved into a full-blown descent into terror. One that is unfolding not in dark alleyways or isolated woods, but in the heart of the Quartermaine estate. The opulent, historical walls of that mansion now carry an eerie presence, where shadows linger just a little too long and doors creak open without cause. Sasha isn't imagining it, something, or someone, is inside. And they are watching. Daisy's presence in the home was supposed to mark a new beginning, a soft return to hope after Sasha's years of trauma, heartbreak, and instability. But instead, her daughter's presence has become the very reason Sasha finds herself teetering on the edge of reason again. Not because of postpartum delusions, as some might suspect, but because of very real, very calculated manipulations by an unknown enemy. Someone is targeting her child. Someone is dismantling her reality. And someone is trying to break her in the most personal way imaginable, through fear, through gaslighting, through reminders of a past she's fought hard to bury. Every time Sasha walks into Daisy's room, she's gripped by the feeling that something is off. It's in the smallest details, the change in baby clothes she never authorized, the lingering smell of unfamiliar perfume on Daisy's blanket, the silent blinking light in the nursery camera that shouldn't be recording. These aren't coincidences. They are warnings. They are threats. They are the beginnings of an obsession that is not her own, but directed at her daughter. Someone has claimed Daisy as theirs. And now, Sasha must face the possibility that this is more than just a stalker. This could be a revival of an old enemy, or worse, a new one with a connection to her past. Whispers around Port Charles have grown louder. Some believe Nelly is still alive. Others think someone else, perhaps someone just as unhinged, has taken up her legacy of manipulation and destruction. The cryptic notes, the daisies left by the front steps, the sense that Sasha is being watched, it all points to a calculated campaign designed to destroy her from within. But what the perpetrator doesn't understand is that Sasha is no longer the broken woman she once was. She has walked through fire, addiction, loss, public breakdowns, and the collapse of her dreams, and emerged hardened, cautious, and quietly fierce. Her love for Daisy is not the kind that falters in fear. It is the kind that fights. The kind that hunts monsters in the dark. And now, that is exactly what she intends to do. The story has shifted. This is no longer about Sasha healing from loss. It is about Sasha preparing for war. She is methodically tracing every anomaly back to its source. With Spinelli's quiet assistance, surveillance footage is being recovered, phone data is being decrypted, and strange bank account movements are being tracked. And in the middle of it all, one discovery sends chills down Sasha's spine. A single receipt showing a delivery to the Quartermaine mansion under a fake name, N. Benson. A name eerily close to Nelly Benson. The discovery makes her blood run cold. Could it be? Could Nelly be alive, lurking in the shadows of the mansion, ready to claim what she thinks is hers? Or is someone else using her name, her identity, her madness, as a mask to conceal their own twisted obsession? As the truth inches closer, Sasha's paranoia deepens, but so does her resolve. There's no cavalry coming to save her. No comforting figure to reassure her that it's all just in her head. And that is what makes her more dangerous than ever. Because now she is acting not out of fear, but out of the certainty that something horrific is happening. She knows Daisy is being hunted. And she will not wait for the next message to arrive, for the next door to creak open in the middle of the night. She will confront this darkness head-on. This new phase of Sasha's arc is not one of survival, it is one of offense. She will no longer plead for help from those who doubt her. She is becoming the hunter. And whoever is lurking behind the veil, be it Nelly, a twisted new threat, or a resurrected ghost from Brit's past, will soon learn that Sasha has been forged in tragedy. Her pain has become her weapon. Her daughter is her shield. And she will burn down the walls of the Quartermaine estate if that's what it takes to expose the truth. As this obsession escalates and the plot unravels, the entire town of Port Charles may be forced to wake up to a reality they've ignored too long. Because this is no longer just Sasha's battle. It's a war that will touch the Corinthos, the Quartermaines, and anyone who stands between a mother and her child. And by the time the final secret is revealed, nothing in Port Charles will be the same again.